Hi, Chris Meyerchin here, and today we're going to go over height adjustability of the Zoot Pro arm. For our model screen today, we're going to be using a Cintiq Pro 27, and when it comes to height adjustability, there's lots of different reasons people want it. Maybe you want a real high clearance here in front of the screen. Maybe you have some special needs or workflow requirements to adjust it around. But most people are interested in good ergonomics for mouse and keyboard use. So let's just go over that. So to start with, we want to make sure that the keyboard is at the right height for your kind of biometrics here. And we're going to want to start out by lowering our arms here and make a nice 90-degree bend with your arm. Then when you reach out to your keyboards, that your wrist has neutral deflection and you're lined up with your mouse and keyboard. So right here, the keyboard height is proper. Now we're going to want to take a look at your screen. To start with, we want to make sure that the active screen area is at or below eye level. So go ahead here and line up with your eyes, reach out with your hand, and that's eye level for me. And I can see right here it's about 2.5 inches below eye level is where the active area of the screen is. So when I say active area of the screen, I mean that where the screen display ends and we're not counting the bezel. So right there, and that kind of gives you a point of reference that just make sure that it's not above that line. And other than that, this is comfortable for me. I really wouldn't need to adjust the height. I'm a little under 6 foot tall, and that's just kind of how it lines up for me. But I am not everyone, and everyone has different needs and wants. So if you want to adjust the screen height, let's go into how you would do that. So to start with, let's take a look at the mechanics of the Zoot system. And we're gonna put that over there and go over here. So what you're getting is two arm systems in one with the Zoot system. You have one where it clamps to the back of the screen, and that's your base. Then you have this top arm here that you use for pivoting out the screen. Now, in between those two arm systems, you have this little section right over here. That's a spacer, and you can change out that spacer to lower or raise this arm. Okay, to better illustrate things, we have a base of a Zoot Pro arm system here, a collection of spacers and the top and bottom plates that go between the spacers. Now, the default spacer height here that you'll get with most kits is a 20 millimeter thick spacer, except for the Cintiq Pro 32, where you get a 10 millimeter spacer. Now, how the whole system goes together when you're changing around your spacers, you will put the bottom plate in, then you will choose the spacer that you want, then you will put the top plate on. Once that sandwich is complete, you will use a special sized screw for the spacer that you have. It will be installed under the arm here, and then it will attach the top arm to the base. Now, that's the standard spacer setup for changing out your spacers on a Zoot arm. But this may not be enough height variability for you, so there's a different option that's also available. Okay, so what we have here are two 50 millimeter spacers, the top and bottom plate, and what we have over here is a stacker portion of it. So the stacker parts can be ordered separately. What comes with the stacker parts is a special mating plate that will go between two spacer elements so that you can stack them. And then you have these custom length threaded round rods that will go through the base here and into the upper arm on top. So if we wanted to place this stacker arrangement together, we would place it all on top, put your top plate in, and then right here you can see that this long rod would attach the two together and you would hold them together there. So That is the stacker arrangement to give you an extra amount of height if you really want to raise your Zoot arm up there. So here we are again with the Cintiq Pro 27 screen with the default 20 millimeter spacer. Now, what we'll be doing is we'll see what the height difference is by installing a 50 millimeter spacer. Then we'll see the height difference again by doing a double stacked 50 millimeter spacer. Okay, so to start with, let's see how the screen pivots right now. You'll note that it goes slightly below desk level, and it, has a decent space under the mouse and keyboard clearance. And once again, looking out at eye level, we've got about 2.5 inches. So the difference here going to raising it up 30 millimeters. So here we are, we've installed the 50 millimeter spacer. One thing that you have to watch out for when installing a wide spacer is that you have to ensure that you have adequate cable slack here. Oh, I have to. When pivoting the screen. So if I pivot the screen all the way down, you want to make sure that these cables are not pulled taut when the screen is pivoted down. By default right here, the 50 millimeter spacer seems to have enough space here such that these cables are not pulled taut. So we're good to go. We can put in this cable tag and stick it in right here. All right, now that I've installed the 50 millimeter spacer, I'm going to take a look here with my eye and go out to there. And now it's about, the active screen area is about 1 inch under my eye. And yeah, to me, more than adequate. But you also have to realize the trade-off here, that when extending the screen down here, it no longer goes below the surface of the desk. So it does limit the movement for how far your main Zoot arm will pivot downwards. All right, and just for more illustration, we'll put the other 50 millimeter double stacker on top of this. Okay, now with the double stacker, we can clearly see that when the arm is pivoted forward, let me get this here. Is that it? Okay, so there we are. With the arm pivoted all the way forward, you can clearly tell the cable tag here is not placed correctly. It should be placed lower. But just for this one demonstration, what I'm going to do is ensure that with the arm forward, I'm going to push the cables in here and install the cable cover and ensure that there's an adequate amount of slack. Now it's important that the cable cover doesn't go on until the screen is all the way forward. Otherwise, when the screen pivots forward, these cables can get pulled so tight they'll cut themselves against the arm here. Okay, now with the arm double stacked, I am looking out, straight out with my eye, and it seems to be directly at eye level. But you'll note that the screen is substantially elevated above the desk and is up here. So overall, not that bad. I kind of like it. So this is an example of one of the customizations you can use to personalize your Zoot Pro.
Pro arm.